Hello everyone, welcome back to another vlog. This is a continuation of my first few days in and around London, part 2. Our first stop for this day was the British Museum. The British Museum has a lot of exhibits about human history, a lot about its culture, and a lot of artwork. The admission was free, but you do have to book your tickets way before time so that you get a time slot. Like I mentioned, the museum has a lot of exhibits, and the first one that we went to was the Egyptian exhibit. We then entered the Assyrian exhibit, and this exhibit had a series of sculptures and panels that were made for the king to adorn his new palace. These were instruments of beautification. They had tweezers, nail clippers, mirrors, combs, and what now we would call a manicure set. Jebel Sahaba was the earliest known prehistoric cemetery with 61 bodies. Most of them died due to inflicted wounds because of violence. The Gebelian Man is one of the most popular exhibits in this museum. This is a naturally preserved body because of the very hot and dry climate. He died of a stab wound, and it is so well preserved that you can see the color of his hair. Egyptian kings and noblemen were buried with these small figures called Shabtis. It was believed that Shabtis would help them with their task in their afterlife. The preservation of a dead body in Egypt was very important because they believed that the soul left the body once the person died, and the only chance that the person had for an afterlife and rebirth was if the soul came back into the body, which they believed happened if it was properly embalmed and preserved after death. There was also an exhibit on the history of watches and clocks. the top, the decree is written in hieroglyphics, the traditional script of Egyptian monumentals. In the middle, the same decree was written in Demotic, the everyday script of literate Egyptian, and the bottom in Greek. The next exhibit that we went to was the Greek exhibit. The sculptures were typically what we associate with the Greek civilization, made of marble, beautifully carved, and very, very detailed. The Amazons were an all-woman warrior group, and Greek mythology talks about a battle between the Amazons and the Greeks, and that is depicted in this panel. The painted Greek vases became really popular in 500 BC, and they were painted with scenes of mythological stories and also sometimes of daily life. After walking around so much, we were pretty hungry, so we went to the famous Borough Market. This market is a farmer's market of sorts, and it also has lots and lots of food stalls. And the last stop for the day was a theatre production of The Lion King. The following day was a gorgeous sunny day, so we headed to Brighton. Brighton is a gorgeous beachside town, and it is an hour away from London, so we had to take the train. The weather that day was absolutely gorgeous. It was very sunny, but it was really windy and cold. We really didn't do too much in Brighton except walk along the beach and sit out in the sun for hours and hours and hours.